The 16th of June, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Right, so let's here. Okay, so we brought a brisa. Gemora asked, "Is it IT?" And we said that it's a will. And everything that's written there should is good and official. That if this person who made this disposition does ultimately pass away from this condition that he has right now, that we see he's deathly ill. So then, Nechasav Leploni, the disposition is official. It's given to the person that he said, even if it wasn't written or given over to him any document whatsoever officially. So, just in other words, based upon the say-so of the individual when he was on his deathbed. Okay, that's number one. Then the Gemora mentioned, it's the Brisa mentioned. What about what's a matana? A shtar matana. Call a kosef bo. Oh, by the way, you know where I'm reading from? This is the second wide line on Yud Tes Amid Aleph. Second wide line, about 8 lines from the bottom. So these are the words of the Brisa. The Brisa continues, Matana kol shekosav bo me'ayomu la'achar misa. Everything that's written here should be take effect mehayom, from today, ula'achar misa, and after the misa of the one who's giving. And we said from Rashi that Rashi says that these two contrary expressions, that the giving is taking place from today, and also after the demise of the giver, refer to the two parts of the property that are in question. The body of the field, the actual rights to the property, sell the property, to give it away, to inherit it, and then there's the profits or the revenues that are generated by the property. So the giving of the property that's what it means when it says mehayom. That's in effect from today. So therefore, the giver, he will be thereby prevented from making any other sale or giving away of this property, because he already gave it to this guy in this document that he said, that he wrote over there, that says mayom la'achar misa. And la'achar misa means even now the revenues and the profits that are generated by the property on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, that will now go after Misa to the recipient. But before that time, they'll be retained by the one who's giving the gift. So as long as he lives, he gets the rights to the profits of the property. So that was all very good. until we get to this Alma. That was what was creating all the problem. What is this Alma all about? And to make things worse, they have a note that the Alma is a mistake. Okay, so let's see. What do we do? Let's try to read from there again, from the Alma.
Alma. Evidently, ki kesiva me hayom achar misa hu dekane. Only when the text of a document states that the gift is to take effect from today and after death does the beneficiary acquire ownership. The elo, and if not, lo kane, he does not acquire.
Okay, so let's take a look at what Rashi says over here. The Rashi Me'ayom L'achar Misa we read yesterday, and we explained it today also. So we're up to the next Rashi. Ve'ilo, if he doesn't write these words, lo kani, then the recipient doesn't make any acquisition whatsoever.
Well, we read those ones too. Maybe we didn't realize it was here, but we did read them.
Oh, I see. We read them. Okay, so let's read them and understand what we're reading here.
Maybe. Low kind of, but if not, he doesn't.
There's Hashem.
It's a bitmia. It's a surprising factor. It's a koshake. All the more so, the imyahi goof the payroll. If he gave to him the body of the thing plus the benefits of the fruit of its labor, so to speak, all the use of the property. From now, the kane tafe, because he does require it like tafe, like well. He does get it.
If he doesn't say this, he doesn't acquire it. If he writes it, he acquires it. If he doesn't write it, he doesn't acquire. Okay, not sure exactly. The words that the Gemora is saying are what Rashi means when he says bitmia. He means to say this statement that the Gemora is saying over here. What's the statement? And if he writes these words, he'll acquire. If these words are written in the document, hu dekani, he will acquire. And that. Then the Gemara says, "Ilo lo kani," and if not, he won't acquire. Rashi's saying that's not a statement of fact. That's a bitmia, meaning to say the Gemara is asking a rhetorical question. If these words are written, he will acquire. Do you mean to say that if he doesn't write these words, he won't acquire? Preposterous. How could it be? And that's what Rashi explains. Kol shekain, all the more so. De'im yohiv le guf uperos me'achshav dekoni tvei. Oh, that's what Rashi means. What does Rashi's explaining us? What do the words mean when in the Gemara when it says, and if he doesn't write them? What do you mean? So what words did he write? So Rashi's filling that in. He's saying what the Gemara means when it says ilo, if he doesn't write these words, Rashi's saying that it means the im yohiv le guf viperos me'achshav. If he would, instead of splitting it up the giving of the guf of the karka and the giving of the paris, instead of splitting it up and saying this is being given me'ayom and this one is being given le'achar misa, he gives it all me'akshav. He gives both the guf and the paris me'akshav, from right now. That's what the elo is referring to, according to Rashi, and on that it's a bitbia. Konitfei, all the more so he will have an acquisition in that karka, because then he'll be getting both the guf and the peros me'akshav, from right now. So what is okay? In other words, it sounds like what the Gemora is asking over here is, what does the Brisa mean when it says if he writes these words, that's going to be a good document? Well, what do you mean? And if he wouldn't write those words, meaning he doesn't make a split between the giving of the guf of the karka and the giving of the paris of the karka, he won't be kona? On the contrary, it'll even be a more of a kinyan, because he'll acquire the whole karka outright, everything, guf and paris, already from now. So seems to be the Gemora's question. And now we got a Abaye says something. Amar Abaye. Lou, would you like to read Amar Abaye?
Okay, unless Roy wants to read.
No, go on.
What do you want to read?
No, I'll read later on.
Oh, Lou read first. Oh, okay. I thought that Roy read first. That's why I called on Lou.
All right, should I read?
Roy, you read, no? It's your turn.
All right. I've given to popular demand. Omre Abaya said, Heichi Ka'ama, this is what the Brisa means to say.
Oh.
Bari, Matanas.
Yeah, continue.
Bari. Oh, other words, why don't I see those words? Ezeru he Matanas Bari, which is the gift document of a healthy person. Shechi b'matanas shechib marai, whose effectiveness is similar to that of the gift of a seriously ill person. Delo kane elo la'acha mecha, in that the beneficiary does not acquire full ownership of the gift until after the benefactor's death. Kol shekasuv ka'aba mahayom ula'acha meso. Any document in which a clause is written stipulating that the gift is to take effect from today and after death. An ordinary gift document which does not contain this clause takes effect immediately and is not similar to the will of a seriously ill person. However, it is certainly valid. I don't understand. The gift is to take effect from today and after death. That sounds like you know he's going to die today, and after he's dead, he can have whatever you want to give him.
I
don't know how that works.
Okay, so
someone's on his deathbed.
Yeah, I don't understand either. What does it mean from today and after death? Either it's from today or it's after death. Can't be both.
What we said. No, that's what we said. That was what we said in the Rashi Dibur Maslim Mehayom Achar Misa. Right? We explained what that means. we explained that
Between the two parts, but I don't get that. I don't get that.
basically what it means is that the goof of the karka is being given hayom, and
Immediately.
the petals of the karka are being given lakamisa.
So the goof part is immediately.
Right. The goof, what, yeah. Right. So in other words, when that phrase appears in a gift document, so we say that right, Mehayom refers to the goof of the karka, and lakamisa refers to the peros of the karka. Now, if no such clause is written into the document, so then what should we say? We'll say everything is given from now, from the time of the giving. The recipient receives both the goof of the karka as well as the peros of the karka me'akshav, from right now, from the time of the giving of the document.
Who's to say a karka is involved? Why not, for example, something like a house or a donkey or a table setting where you don't have two parts, the thing itself and what it produces?
I mean, in a certain sense, you have these two aspects in any item that you want to talk about. Because let's analyze, what are the two items that we're talking about referring to? What do we mean when we say the goof of the karka? What does that really mean? What that means is that the person that owns the goof of the karka, he owns the right to sell it to somebody that he wants to. He owns the right to give it to somebody. He owns that if he passes away, then that karka will go by way of Yerusha to his heirs, because he owns the goof of the karka, and nobody else could interfere with that. What does it mean to own the peros of the karka? It means that whatever revenues this property generates, it goes to the one that owns the peros, the right to receive the peros of the karka. That could be two separate people. One owns the goof of the karka, another person owns the peros of the karka. Now, can you imagine a scenario like that with a donkey?
Well, yes, I suppose the donkey. You don't own the donkey, but you do own the things that the donkey does, like carries.
Right. In other words, somebody who owns the peros of the donkey, what does that mean? It means that he's got the right on a day-to-day basis to work the donkey, to have the donkey, to ride on the donkey, whatever the donkey can, whatever that he can do. The person that owns the peros of the donkey, he's got a right to do that. And the one that owns the goof of the donkey, he owns the right to sell the donkey. He owns the right to rent the donkey out. He owns the right to right? And nobody else can do that. Only the one that owns the goof of the donkey can do that.
What about a table setting, or even a house? Someone owns a house, that's a goof. And
a house is somebody, a person who owns the house. What can he do? He could rent it out, and then he can right. So now the renter, he's the one that owns the peros of the house. He's got the right to use the house. But what happens if the owner of the house decides that he's making a chasna and he wants to give the house now to his son? So what does he do? he tells the guy who's living there, sorry, but in 30 days' time, I'm giving this house away. I'm giving it to my son, and then you're going to have to move out. So there you see a split between the ownership of the guf of the karka and the ownership of the paris of the karka.
Well, in that particular case, the one who owns the Paris doesn't really own it. It can be taken from him.
Well, let's say that he's got a month-to-month rental relationship. Every month he's got a right to leave, and also the owner of the house, he's got a right to tell him to leave. So that's what he did. He gave him 30 days notice.
But what if he hasn't got that?
What if he has a year lease?
He have no lease.
So then what's his right to live there?
Who are we talking about? The one who owns the
one that's living in the house. If he's not the owner of the house, so then what right does he have to live there? He must have a rental agreement. He must have a leasing agreement with the owner of the house.
He owns a Paris. I'm talking about the one who owns the Paris of the house. If that house is sold, then he hasn't got the Paris. How can someone sell his ownership if he doesn't want that to be done?
In other words, in the case of a house, if somebody, right, really somebody, this is true of all property, really, not just a house. Somebody who owns the guf of the karka, he really owns. If he owns what they call the outright, he really owns the guf of the karka as well as the peros. But he could sell the right to the paris of the karka by renting it out to somebody. So now that person has a rental agreement. He owns the right to the paris of that karka. What's he going to do with that karka? He could build a house on it. He could live in the house if the house is there. He could grow tomatoes over there. Whatever he wants to do, because he bought the right to receive the revenues of the value of the usage of that field. So really, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about these two aspects: the guf of the karka and the paros of the karka. And okay, so let's see again. What is Abaye saying over here? Abaye is trying to explain what the Brisa is saying. The Gemora seems to have posed a difficulty with the words of the Brisa, and Abaye is coming to resolve this difficulty. That's why Abaye says, Hakika Amar. This is what the Brisa means to say. We didn't quite understand what the Brisa was saying before, so we had a difficulty with it. Now Abaye is going to clarify. What's the Brisa saying? Hakika Amar. This is what the Brisa is saying. Ezahi matnas bori shehi ke matnas shchivmera. What is an example of a document of a healthy person who's giving a gift, which will resemble, I guess, in its halachas, the amatnis chimera, the gift that is given by someone on his deathbed. The lokani, that he won't acquire. Ella la'achar misa. He'll only acquire it after the misa of the giver. And what's the answer? Kol shekasav ba mehayom la'achar misa. That will be any shtar matana, any document which gives a gift away to a recipient, that the language of the document uses this very language that we've been discussing. Mehayom ula achar misa. The gift is given to you, the recipient, from today, mehayom, ula achar misa, and after the demise of the giver. Now, is there a Rashi? No.
Those two conditions have to be met. Is that right?
Which two conditions?
That he dies today, and then he can be given. That's, well, if he doesn't die, then he can't be given it. And if he, all right, no, I think leave that.
Let's see. שבאופן זה אין המקבל זוכה בפירוס אלא לאחר מיסה. וזה פשוט, שגם אם כוסף לו הנוסן גוף ופירוס מהיום המתנה חלה, אלא שבאופן זה אינו דומה כלל למתנס חימרה. הברייסה רצתה להשמינו שיש מתנס בורי שהיא דומה לשטר דייטיקי. דהיינו למתנס חימרה. Yeah, there's something over here which is something that's not clear.
We're talking about a seriously ill person all through these.
Well, no, actually, we're talking about two cases. First, the Brisa mentions the case of the Daitiki.
Yeah.
And the din of the Daitiki is that only when the person who was on his deathbed, who's giving this disposition, only at the point that he passes away, only then will the gift go into effect. Not before that. Right? That's the whole thing. As long that, in other words, that's the understanding of a daitiki. That it's only that it's given, so to speak, on condition. And I'll explain what that means. It's given on condition that the person who's giving this gift passes away. Let's say, for example, the person he even not only says it, but he has it written out. And even let's say he gives it over to the person, to the ploni that he's making the disposition to. And and the next day, they everybody goes to the shul and they have a tefillas rabim for ploni almoni, and they daven for him, and they say all the tehillim, and they say a special misha berach, and everybody says amen. And in 2 days' time, he gets up from his bed and he's walking around. What now is the din with this daitiki that he made? It's batal umuvatal.
It's what?
It's nullified.
Also, yeah.
Why? Because the whole intention of the giver was that if he's going to die from this illness that he has, then this person that I've named in the daitiki will receive this gift. It's not an absolute giving. It's dependent on a condition being fulfilled. Because it's understood that it's not just an outright gift. It's not an outright gift that's been given over here. It's what we call a matnas shchiv meira. It's in English they'll translate it as a deathbed giving, whatever. But it's only being given on condition that the person actually passes away. Now we know after 120 years he's going to pass away, but but if he doesn't pass away from the condition that he's now in, then the gift is off, because the whole gift was on condition that he's going to pass away from the condition that he has right now.
It looks like he doesn't, that this condition is permanent while he's alive. It says here, any document in which the clause is written stipulating that the gift is to take effect now from today and after death. So if he doesn't, so it's on Monday, but he's still alive. He's still alive on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the next week, the next Yom Kippur, and so on and so on.
1 second, I think you're mixing things up over here.
Okay.
Okay, what we said over here up until now was this daitiki.
Right.
That was the first document that the Brisa discusses. Now, after that, the Brisa discusses a matana.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Rashi said over here, this is the matana matnas bori. This is a matana of a healthy person. Okay? And yet, it says in the document, mehayom la'achar misa. He's not sick. He has no condition. But that's the words that it says in the document. That's the gift that we're talking about in this brisa. So what does that mean? We said that he said mehayom, that refers to the goof of the karka. The ownership of the property or the item that is being given. And so on that, he acquires the right he acquires the goof of the karka me'akshav, right now. What does that mean? That means that this person, he can't turn around tomorrow or the next day or the next month or the next year and give it to anybody else or sell it to anybody. He can't do that because he's already given it to this person, the goof of the karka. He's already considered to be the owner of the goof of the karka. So that means that the giver has no more right to sell that property because he's already sold it or given it to this first person. But this that it says in the words of the document ula achar misa, what is that referring to? It's not referring to the giving of the goof of the karka. That's referring to the peiros of the karka, which means the usage of the karka. The right to use the karka to generate revenues, profits, peiros. That the giver is saying that you will only get after 120, because I want to have that right now, is what the giver is saying. Right? Those are the two cases that the Brisa has mentioned over here. So what our problem is what's the Gemora's problem? This is a daitiki, and this is a matnas bori. What does one have to do with the other? They have nothing to do with one another. They have different rules. They have different halachas. There's no problem over here. What's the problem? But the Gemora sees that there's a problem. And that problem, Abaya is trying to address it. So it seems like the Gemora's comment was the Gemora's comment was that it understood from the Brisa that specifically in this type of in the event that the person says Mayomer la'achar misa, in the case of the matnas bori, dafka like that, that's what distinguishes matnas bori from a daitiki. And on that, the Gemora asks, what do you mean? If he wouldn't have said those words, then there would even be a bigger distinction between the daitiki and the matnas bori. Because in that case, if he didn't mention these words, Mayomer la'achar misa, then the recipient would, in the case of a matnas bori, he would receive everything, the goof and the peiros, from now. Nothing would be waiting until after 120 years of the giver. Everything is being given now. That case would even be more of a stark contrast between the case of matnas bori and the case of a matnas shchiv meira, of a deathbed giving. On that, Abaya is saying, no, what the Gemora means to say is what is the type of a matnas bori, of a person who is healthy, and there's no imminent anticipation of perhaps him taking leave from this world. In which case would there be some resemblance between the matnas bori and the matnas shchiv meira? On that, the Brisa is telling you. I'll tell you a case that there'll be some similarity between the two. Meaning to say, just like in the case of a matnas shchiv meira, the giving only happens when the person passes away. So too, we have a case like that, even in the case of a matnas bori, who's not anticipated to pass away now. He's healthy right now. He's going to live for 120 years. Eivish is all helfen, and but nevertheless, there is a tanai, there is a condition in that document which provides for the giving of some part of the property after this person dies. So in that case, in that sense, it's similar to matnas shkimera, where the whole disposition is only if and when the person dies from this condition that he's in right now.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Okay, take care, be well.
Okay.
Okay.
Hashem yishmor aleinu.
Amen.
May we all be safe.
Take care.
Amen. Thank you, Roy. You too.
Ezras Hashem.